So, welcome, welcome to the official 10th episode of the podcast. I'm Javin.
I'm Alex.
I'm Peaches.
I'm Seth.
Hey, I'm Lizzie.
Hey.
And Lizzie is our special guest for today's episode. Yeah. So apparently we have a social media starlet in our midst.
We have an influencer.
Her account's been verified. Check mark and all.
No. TikTok.
Yeah.
Great explanation, Lizzie.
Thank you.
Very in-depth.
Yep.
That was
Should have been
wonderful.
like,
You should follow me, then you figure it out.
Yeah. You have to be TikToking all the time.
oh no.
All right, so Javin, why don't you introduce today's topic of discussion?
Well, no, I'd rather have Seth do that because it just makes more sense.
Fuck you, Alex.
You're welcome, Seth.
You want me to do it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. What we're going to talk about today is pretty controversial, but also very popular, and it's TikTok, and it's about the current. I would say there's a boom of new users in TikTok due to the coronavirus and trying to cure boredom. So that's what we're going to be talking about, and I have a list of pet peeves with TikTok that I'd like to get out and discuss.
Please,
Nice
yeah.
therapy
Let's
session.
air them out. Let's air them out.
Rag on your wife on camera while she's sitting right next to you.
Yes.
Solid idea.
Let's go to the positive. All right, Lizzie. So TikTok, why'd you start? Let's
Okay.
talk about
Millennial quarantine. Let's just get it. So, like, you just download it because you're like, whatever. What even is this? And they even have TikToks about millennials doing the same exact action. So, literally, you just download it, and then you're like, this is stupid, stupid, stupid. And then you just spend 8 hours laughing, and you're like, this is the best joy in my life right now. And then you keep watching it. It keeps getting funnier. And then you're like, wait, I could do that. I could do that. Should I just try one? Should I try one? Do you guys want to try one? And then you try it, and then you get a lot of views, and you're like, this is cool.
Yeah.
That's basically TikTok.
All right.
You know, that's-
So let's talk about the joy of that. All right. So obviously we have a little bit of an age gap from what you, myself, and Alex. Jav's a little bit younger than us, but kind of falls in the same category, right? You
Yes.
sort of see these millennials out there sort of almost like roasting themselves, like, ooh, millennial on TikTok. And then talking about like the age gap, right? How do you feel that, I guess, what is that age gap and how does it make you personally feel and how do you address that when you go into these videos that you're doing?
So for sure, TikTok is like a Gen Z thing. Like, I don't even fully understand how it works or how to get views or who creates these things or anything like that. They definitely have owned it since the inception of the app. And they make all the hashtags and all the things, and I have no idea what I'm doing, but I just see, oh, they use this hashtag and they got a ton of views. I'll use this butter pop gloss hashtag, which makes no sense. And then you get like tons of views. I don't know. Gen Zs are like the originators.
Break it up, but
Is the alien here?
Hey, we have another guest today.
Oh my god.
Alex, introduce our other guest, please.
guy, have a great rest of your podcast, all right, guys?
All right.
To get on those applications, Alex.
All right,
Official
later, guys.
applications.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay, so just a real quick explanation. Alex got a fish named Tom DeLong, and he has to go care for it now.
Come along. That's cool.
And fill
So
out a bunch of preschool applications, so it's kind of busy.
we have lost Alex now. He's now lost to his aquarium. We'll probably never see him again.
Yeah. Next thing you know, he'll be in the aquarium swimming with
Or he's gonna start making TikTok videos in front of his aquarium
With his fish.
with his fish.
Yeah,
The fish learn the
So some people clearly resort to the social media. Others resort to an unhealthy habit or addiction of fish.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's one or the other, really.
Yeah, really. That's
There
I've
is no medium.
throughout this quarantine, I've either lost friends to fish or TikTok. There's really been no
in
middle
between.
ground. So
all right. So
Sorry.
to figure that out, how do you address the age gap though, right? Because even though it's not a big age gap, every generation has their own thing that makes the older generation look at it and go, "What the fuck?"
Yeah,
Right?
Totally.
for sure. I mean, I think I'm just like, what are they doing? I just see TikTok as like a fun escape. It's better for me to spend 3 hours learning a dance and like sort of exercising than just watching TV or something. It's just fun. We just laugh and have a good time. It's just like lightens the mood. I don't know. I think it's been like a good distraction and like a bonding point with a lot of people, because then my coworkers get into it and then we make TikToks at work when there's no one there, or like, yeah, it's just been like a thing. But as far as like, dealing with like the Gen Zers or whatever, I think it's just more like I don't really understand their whole world, and it's kind of like a cool window into like what they're doing. I don't know, but it does make you feel definitely a lot older, for sure.
Yeah, but I think that's cool too. That like you just said, you have a window into, you can see what the generational gap is really, because you're right in the middle of it. You're like, what the hell are you talking about? And then like, it sounds like to me like you spend a little bit more time like in the TikTok rabbit hole, and then you're like, I understand that. That's funny as hell. Like, here we go. All right.
Yeah, what I've always wondered, actually, going off of the TikTok, right? Because the millennials, we come from a different generation. Our TikTok was actually Vine.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
right?
totally.
And then Vine
just
got
like
bought
Vine.
out by Instagram, and then ultimately shut down. And sort of this was supposed to be like Instagram was supposed to be like the new Vine, but that didn't work out. So everybody started going over to TikTok. I mean, you can still see a lot of those old Viners still
are on TikTok. Totally. I found them.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Like, you can go on there and see Bach and all those other guys.
Yeah.
But I'm wondering, and this might be such a going back. We lost our boomer of the group, so I'll take place of him.
My loose fish.
Boomer's playing with his fish.
He's taking care of the fish. I'm wondering.
Yeah, classic.
So I'm wondering, because think about what Vine was and kind of what TikTok is, right? Vines were like 7-second videos. I don't know how long TikToks can go. I'm not that much into it.
I think a minute.
I don't know.
A minute. But I want to think about this, right? Because we've seen this wonderful idea, right? Even like the YouTube formula before like even Vine existed was sort of like this 10-minute or less formula, right? What does that do to the attention span and overall the intellectuality of the individual? Do you think that's harmful, or do you think it's enough to hold the attention and still carry some sort of value beyond entertainment?
I think so the technology aspect of it, obviously they're literally working on editing videos and being creative and like expanding that realm. Like just the fact of like how these people can edit the videos to make it look like they're flying on a broomstick when they're just jumping up and down or something. That's like a popular one. Like I think that aspect of it is like they're so much better at technology than me. I get so frustrated trying to edit videos, or I'm like, I don't know how this works. But I see what you're saying, where like if we're just watching short clips and just going through that, like it shortens our attention span, and like how are we supposed to pay attention to like an hour-long lecture at school, or have an intellectual discussion besides just like, hey, did you see this TikTok? Here you go.
I would almost say though, that the way that we're saying this, it sounds like TikTok is going to harm us more than we already are, which maybe it could be, but I think the United States already has short attention span. And we want a now kind of mentality. And so I think TikTok is really only catering to what is already there. But I do think, it's more of a reinforcement, I think.
I think it's like other social medias, use it in,
You guys got some ghosts?
Yeah, apparently.
Something up there. Never heard that.
The TikTok's gods are angry at us.
Yeah, they're like, only positive thoughts. Only promote the talk. So going back to your question, Peaches, I think that TikTok is just like other formats of social media. Like Seth was saying, it does, it is no different in the fact that it's just short little things that are taking your attention. But they should just be used in moderation. If you're spending all day long doing nothing besides watching TikTok or surfing through Instagram or whatever, it's that obviously I think that would have detrimental effects on your your attention span. But I think when you're just using it as like a little escape or a waste of time or just whatever, it's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think if I may, go ahead, please.
I was just going to piggyback on that, and I think everything in moderation is pretty good for you. I mean, for the exception of a couple of things in life, but just don't spend 10 hours on TikTok and then spend all night thinking about TikTok and then all day telling everyone else about TikTok. I don't know.
I think
a little personal stab. So that's just like, just don't do.
You're TikTok.
Hey!
Yay!
Did your fish not require as much?
What? Did I miss something?
No. You're good. All right, Alex, I'm gonna bring in a point here. Okay, we're talking about this. You're gonna automatically get the question that I asked, but I want to talk about this for a hot second because I think everybody is correct. And what I think I want to sort of articulate a little more on is when you look at YouTube, Vine, TikTok, Quibi, all these other things out there, what you're really looking at is somebody who's able to write a prolific narrative in a way or something that's enough to capture your attention that the 7 seconds, the minute, the 10 minutes, whatever formula you're using is enough to still capture your attention. But the skill that it takes to do that is really actually admirable because you didn't spend a minute on TikTok coming up with an idea. You spent hours coming up with an idea of how to condense this idea into a format that works with that particular area. And while I don't think it's bad, I don't think we have necessarily, I think innately we do have this attention span that wants the information quickly and easily. I do think it's a careful balance between, you got your quick information, but can you also sit down and read a book kind of a thing. But I don't think it's bad. I don't think we should criticize the creators per se, saying, hey, you can only come up with 60 seconds worth of content, when in all reality, they could probably come up with hours worth of content, as much as maybe we should criticize the viewer by saying, well, not criticize, but as much maybe just critique their style and say, can you watch a 2-hour documentary?
All right, before we go any further, Javin, where the fuck's the cactus? No, it needs to be right here.
It needs to be your mic.
He's taking my idea, though.
I did take Seth's idea.
All right, well, that's good enough. As long as the cactus is there. Peaches, I understand where you're coming from, and working in advertisement and Seth working in film production. Part of our job is to tell a story. And honestly, in a weird way, and Seth, I think you can back me up on this. Trying to tell a story in 60 seconds is almost harder than trying to tell 20 minutes.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Let me give you an example.
Like the way Peaches said that.
Go, Seth, please, go ahead.
I was just going to praise you a little bit and say that your thought really got me thinking a little bit more about if it captures their attention, 10 seconds, 20 seconds, it's still doing something. It doesn't matter how long, I guess.
You got to give something to the creator of that, dude, back to Vines, right? Vines were huge. And I used to be that guy who would not only hop on Vine, but then hop on YouTube to watch Vine compilations because some people were able to do so much within 7 seconds. Let me go off of what Alex just said and kind of put it in an area that may not be as entertaining, but puts it into perspective. When I was in college, I took a second-year law school class. And it was the class that actually cemented my focus on administrative law. And what we would have to do each class is we would have to go through and read 100 plus pages of a law brief where it set a precedence, and we had to condense that down to a single page constitutional brief on whatever we just read. And like Alex just said, doing that, when you think about it, right, when you have that much information that you can detail it perfectly and summarize it and get your point across, within such a limited amount of time or space, that is amazing.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, that's insane.
You know, so I actually, when I watch these content creators, now YouTube is a little bit different. Okay, those who have been on the show have heard me criticize like the top 10 format before, where I'm like, I don't watch top 10s because what you're doing is you're taking something that needs a lot more time and condensing it down to a top 10 format within that formula of 10 minutes. So you're basically giving each topic a 1 minute segment before you move on to the next. And I've fact checked a lot of these guys. I'm like, I don't know how the hell you got that summary, but that didn't work, right? But so sometimes it doesn't work, but a lot of the times it does.
Well, Peaches, this is where, I mean, I know you've given me crap about your video project not being done, and honestly, the hardest part about it, truly, is that your story it's deep enough and moving enough that striking the balance between catching someone's attention and then providing enough facts and supporting elements to tell the narrative is really hard to do, to condense down into like 2.5 minutes, 5 minutes. Like, I've gotten it down to 20 minutes. I can make a 20-minute documentary, but at 20 minutes, it's almost too long at the same time. So, like, there's a struggle, honestly, in telling a concise, tight story in a way that captures people's attention.
Yeah,
I mean, that's
incredibly hard.
I want to say that too because I've been dealing with that in my work right now. So up till today, Easter Sunday, I had a testimonial video narrative that I had to put together of someone's life. And, you know, I met with him and I was like, hey, we want to tell your story and we're going to tell it how you want. Like, we're not going to put words in for you or whatever, you know, like say what you want to say about your story. And when I went to film it, I had him say it like 3 times in different locations. And each time it was consistently about 10 minutes that he got his story from when he was like maybe 10 to 30. So like 15 to 20 years, he condensed down to 10 minutes worth of nonstop talking. But then I had to make the hard calls of being like, what parts of this actually serve the greater story and progress the timeline and like are impactful enough to keep people's attention at the same time. And I was having a really hard time for a while because, you know, there's so much that you don't want to cut out because it's all, like at this point, it's all super good and it's gold, really. And you don't want to also make the person feel like their story isn't valued or certain parts aren't valued, but you also have to be like, people aren't going to watch a full 10-minute video. You know, you have to give it like contrast with highs and lows and, you know, you have to tell the story as well and serve it in a better purpose than just him telling it flat out like he was, you know?
You know, in one of these things, it reminds me of the exposure triangle stuff, which is, you know, you can't shoot in low ISO, high aperture, high shutter speed every time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, like, to get one element, you almost have to, like, sacrifice another element.
Yeah.
That literally is a juggling game.
Well, you know what I like? I want to make, well, first off, Lizzie, you're awesome for venturing out into TikTok. I know about TikTok. I've seen enough where I kind of had the idea. I mean, you even told me, I told you the one dance probably has that, you know, and you're like, yeah, you're totally good, right? So obviously I've seen enough, right? But what I'd really like to do is talk about, so we kind of went into that generational gap, right? And I feel like the older the millennials get, the more we start feeling almost like we're replacing the boomers in a way, you know, where we feel so disconnected and out of touch with the trends and things like that. But here's the difference, though, right? When we talk about some of the older generations, they talk about the effects of social media on the individual, and they're like, well, it's doing this, it's doing that. One of the things we have heard is that it is making us it's destroying our attention span, right? It's making us dumber, for lack of better words, when in all reality, what it's doing is it's creating this culture where people can go out and be a content creator and can be an influencer and can use whatever they want and in their own way to actually make money, but also do it in a way that meets the parameters of wherever they're doing it, and they're taking that seriously, right? I, again, like to go back to Vine because those were 7-second videos, yet they were able to capture the attention of millions of people.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, is social media, I mean, is it a good or bad thing? What do you think, Lizzie? That was to you.
I mean, so, like, I think it's, I know, like, how people are so against it, and, like, I understand they're, like, because I have, like, really old boomer parents, and they can't even, like, function. They can't even try to, like, get on it or anything, you know? And, like, I don't ever want to be that way because it's frustrating because I'm like, look at how funny this is. Or it's just, like, one more thing that you can share with people, share a laugh, share a comment, whatever, like, make it a conversation starter. And they're not even trying to join the conversation. You know what I mean? So I don't, like, as our generation progresses, I want to try to, like, you know, like, understand or, like, just see what's happening. I don't know. But I think that, I think technology in general is, like, it's what's happening in the world. So if you don't get on, you're going to be left out and you're going to be forgotten and you won't. There's so many things that you can't do without technology. Like, I'm not even very good at it, like, at all. And I feel like if you don't have any skill, then it's going to be really hard for you to, like, progress or to be good at jobs or anything else like that because it translates to so many realms of our life.
It's almost like the millennial generation is such a hybrid of what you would consider, like, that normal generation gap.
Right.
Yeah, because, so I remember my mom, she worked at my dad's church for, like, years. And then just a couple of years ago, she decided she was going to stop and get a real job somewhere else and just kind of get out of that. And the problem that she was running into, and this is a testament to the struggle that they had to go through with their timeline, but, you know, when they were growing up, computers weren't a thing. And then computers became a thing when I was young. And by then they were kind of like where I would consider myself with TikTok, where I'm like, I know it's a thing, but I'm not going to go do it, you know? So they never really got the proper computer training that so many jobs require. And she was having that issue where it's like, do you have computer skills? And she would have to be honest and be like, no, but I'm trainable. And, you know, and then a lot of people would just be like, well, I don't even want to give you the time to train you. Like, if you don't know it, I'm not going to waste my time and whatever. So it's kind of interesting that, you know, each generation, I'm sure, has gone through something like that. You know
what's funny, and I think I'm, like, maybe in that age that is weirdly bridged by, like, older generations meets technology generations. And I'll give you an example of this, which I think is funny. I remember when I was a freshman in high school, one of the classes that was requirement for you to take was typing. Mm-hmm. You actually had to take a class on typing. And I remember thinking that this class is so dumb, like, I didn't write paper. You know, before high school, like, if you wrote a paper, you physically wrote a paper. Mm-hmm. You know, like, hand and paper. Yeah. And I got to that class, and I'm like, this is so fucking stupid. Like, I don't want to learn how to type. But I took the class, I got through it, and I sucked at it. Like, I barely passed typing. But at the same time, instant messenger was starting to become a thing where you would type, you know, it was like the first social media for the mass public.
Yeah.
AOL.
And so, yeah. And I think it's funny because I got way better at typing because I was on that so much that it actually transitioned, like, I still didn't learn much in the typing class, but I'm saying that I got better because I was on Instant Messenger.
Yeah.
And it's kind of funny that you just bring that up. Like, it's, in a weird way, social media almost teaches it, like you said, Lizzie, there's transferable skills.
Yeah. For sure there is.
And that's what I got
Yeah.
from social media. It was like I learned how to type because of social media.
Yeah.
Transferable
Yeah,
skills.
especially, it's hard because it's like at the time you don't know that it's going to come in handy.
Yeah.
You know, you didn't know that typing was going to be a thing. And then all of a sudden it became the thing.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's
I'm
like typing
curious.
is so hard to get away from.
I'm curious because we have somebody who is the youngest person in the group and is probably a little less disconnected from the friends, and that is Jab and Bear, the actual person who started the second string debate team. Jab, what are your thoughts?
Good job.
Well, I mean, I had, just to go a couple questions or talking points back, I kind of had like my own, kind of like what Lizzie was talking about, where you're like, oh, I don't want to be like my parents or be like, that stereotype of not understanding younger people. But it happened when I was over at my sister's house the other day, and my niece was up in her room, like playing on TikTok. I knew that's what she was doing. She was making TikTok videos. And at the time I was like, man, why doesn't she go outside and play? Like blah, 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 whatever. And I had those thoughts. And then she came down and she showed me these videos that she had made. And I was like, damn, like these are really good. Like, and I had that same thought of like, you fit all of this into like 7-10 seconds. Like it's clever. This is good, But I don't know. I don't think there's too big of a disconnect between like, how much younger am I than everybody else? Because I'm 27. Peaches, you're...
We're 28.
Oh, yeah.
28.
So, yeah, we're the same.
We're like the same.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think there's a huge gap yet between like people my age and the people that are using TikTok. Like, it's just not something that I personally have the allure to. Like, I don't want to make TikTok videos. But I do like to watch them. Like when I see them on Facebook or Instagram, I have seen some straight comedic gold off those things. And I did definitely hate on the platform though when it first came out. I was like, this is stupid.
For sure.
Doesn't make any
I
sense.
still hate on it.
Yeah.
And I hate that I like some of the videos.
Me
It's like
too.
the worst part.
Me too. It's like
And
the
I
first.
want to continue hating it, but then it's like there are good people on there that are smart and they make good, funny stuff.
Yeah, like
I'm like, I hate you right now.
like Caleb Francis. I love that dude. And the first time I saw like the TikTok badge on one of his videos, I was like, ooh, I hate that I love this
I know,
right
yeah.
now.
Can I
Yes,
posit two ideas behind social media, and I want to see what you guys think of this. One is, in terms of content creators, it's not, actually I guess there's three ideas I want to posit. In terms of content creators, it's a great almost like cerebral practice, because you have to actually create something. So there's thought behind it, potentially, or at least practice the thought process, so a forum to do that. Two, there's the element of sharing, which is something that we do with food, we do with other social things. Like in a community, we like to share. So like sharing a video also kind of bridges a social connection. And then third, I think potentially the downside that everybody considers about this is when you get wrapped up in it to the extent that you don't continue the physical social connections and you're comparing yourself to these edited versions of other things. Just curious what your guys' thoughts are on those. I know Peach has probably has some.
Well, no, let me just ask a point of clarification. Are you talking from the actual perspective of the content creator, or are you talking from the perspective of somebody who enjoys that content?
I think it's both.
Okay.
So
my only opinion with, and Jav, I'll let you go after this, I'm sorry. The only thing I will say is being a content creator, by no means am I considered to be, like the Nuke's Top 5 or Dismo or whatever, guys who have, million plus viewers or subscribers. I'm not to that level, but I will tell you it's a job. That's not your life. It's a job. You go in there, you have your set time, and those who are really good at it have a very strict schedule of when they're doing things. They have it down to a formula. It is a job. that's all it is to them. As soon as that time allotted is over, they're out, they're done, and they're trying to get out and be with their friends. I mean, I've seen a lot of, like, even guys like on a not your most popular platforms like Twitch, you know, they will literally answer a phone call during Twitch and be like, dude, I'm gaming right now, bro. Got to make that money. I get off at 4. I'll call you. You know, so you got to keep that in mind. A lot of these guys, I mean, this is a job. That's it.
Well,
Not everybody.
I guess I'm speaking more in the general populace that's making, like Lizzie. Lizzie is not making money off this. Lizzie had an idea and created something. Right, but it's I think it's a good forum for practice in some ways, the creative thought process, which is a transferable skill set.
Yeah. I want to touch on that a little bit. The creative.
Sorry. Javin had a point to make too. I don't want to leave him out since he is the founder.
I don't know why that keeps getting brought up, but
we got to be good at Papa Bear, or you know. Papa,
that's my father. But no,
that's the quarter life crisis talking right there, Jav.
I'm a boomer now. I'm creeping up on it. No, I just not to go too off track, but when Peaches was talking about it being a job for actual content creators, I've started to have that realization, like with the second string debate team. Like I thought it was a lot of work, like, just putting, doing like running the Instagram pages and things like that. And I started to read about like, more successful podcasts and publications and things like that and how they do it. And I'm seeing that now, that like from, 8 to noon, they do this for the page, and then they focus on their other job. And then it's, these structured hours a day to get this popping. And I think that it's, if I heard your question correctly, Alex, you were kind of saying like, does there become a disconnect between like the content you're creating and like the approval for it being liked becomes more important than the content? Was that kind of what you were?
Yeah, but and I'm not necessarily speaking to the legitimate content creators who are making a living at this. I'm speaking more to Lizzie in what she represents in society, which are the everyday Joe who's just like, we're making something funny. And, I do think as a society in that realm, having a forum where you can practice being creative or critical thinking may not necessarily be a bad thing, so long as you don't get obsessed with the intake of content and comparing yourself to that.
Yeah, well, I guess that's just kind of the slippery slope of social media in general. The whole platform is in its essence set up to have you compare yourself to other people. I think it's just I don't know. I guess I think that just varies on the person, really. How you can handle that kind of. Is it criticism or would it be more like judgment? I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure what it would be either. But then, like, on the same note of that, the idea of sharing that content with other people that you're close to is kind of like the new version of, like, sharing food, as cultures once did. You know what I mean? Like, you're sharing this new social product. Yeah,
I've always thought that portion of all social media was great. Like, this is before, it did connect people, whether the thoughts on, digital relationships and whatnot, that's a whole nother discussion, but it did connect people in a heavier volume. And I think that, things like TikTok and those small videos that, especially during like quarantine and stuff, because I know that the numbers for TikTok users have skyrocketed.
Same for Pornhub.
Yeah. Yeah. Porn and TikTok both have gone up. But I think in this time especially, it's great to be able to share these funny, these short, poignant little videos, now more than ever.
Yeah, I think, like, that's how I've always viewed social media, is, like, this is how I, like, see into, like, family members and friends' lives. Like, I may not be having these conversations with you or seeing what your kids are up to or what you're doing, like, on Facebook or whatever, so social media in general for me has always been a good way to, like, just see what people are doing. And then when I do talk to them in person or text them or whatever, I can say, like, hey, I saw you did this the other day, or, it's like one way to stay involved in other people's lives that maybe you wouldn't always. And, there's always goods and bad to everything. And, like, of course, like, I don't like the arguing or the political posts constantly or anything like that. But I think, like, yeah, like you were saying, like, during quarantine especially, it's nice to have this outlet to just be able to laugh and be silly. And then I do feel closer to other humans in general because I'm like, look at what they're making, or, oh, these people liked my thing, so, like, they must, you know what I mean? Like, you, like, start to follow people or anything like that. So I feel like the communication.
Super happy you're not friends with me.
Lizzie, do you feel closer to us now?
So close right now. I, like, can touch your auras.
Let me make a comment though. I totally agree with Lizzie, but I think the main thing that we're seeing, and this might be more generational. I think a lot of millennials see opportunity in areas as opposed to the younger generations, but a lot of social media, and even Facebook to this point, can actually be monetized to a point where you can, if you're passionate enough and popular enough, you can actually turn that into a career.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Most social media platforms, hi Facebook, help us out.
Please.
YouTube.
Shameless plug.
Give us money.
Go follow up.
But that's what I'm saying is, like, when I was kind of introduced to it, when I got technically into Facebook, it was only for, like, people in college. Like, that's what Facebook was made for, is, like, college kids, right? And then my mom got into it. She's like, oh, I just hop on there to stay in touch with people. And I'm like, okay, I get on there to Lizzie's point, talk about politics. I mean, that's sort of, Facebook is my outlet. I don't go on there for friends. If you go on Facebook,
that's why I unfollowed Peaches like months back.
A lot of people do. I gotta weed them out. But I also sleep in the same bed with Alex, so he ain't going on him. No, but, like, my point is, like, it can be an outlet in many different ways. So to Lizzie's point, though, it's not. It went from more than just I want to stay in touch with people to somebody like me who can't really find anybody locally who passionately enjoys talking philosophy and politics.
I'm upstairs. I'm downstairs, bitch. Come down and talk to me.
I will, but I'm not going to come down there and just talk with you. We're going to cuddle and watch a movie.
Come on down, bitch.
No. We're in a podcast.
No.
Get him the cup.
So I want to, if you're done, I would like to.
Yeah. Continue.
Sorry, not to be. Not selling.
If you guys are done fighting,
Whenever you're done now.
I would like to say something.
Okay.
So I wanted to go back to a positive outlook that I've noticed on some of the TikToks that Lizzie has showed me is, staying connected is a great thing, and if you're doing that through TikTok, fine, that's awesome. One thing that I've seen are people on TikTok involving their whole family in TikToks, and I feel like that's a super positive thing because I think that's something that, we could take advantage of as a nation or even a world, is, like, making sure our family time is maybe more quality and learning to, like, actually be parents and actually be kids to our parents or something, you know what I mean? Because I feel like life can be so fast. That stuff just kind of gets away with you or from you. And if you're at work all day and then you come home and you're tired and you don't have time or energy to spend with your kids or whatever, that's the thing that being made to stay home with them can help you do, is get closer. And then, like, seeing the parents that are actually willing to, like, take that step and try to gap the generation and being like, I'm going to step into your world and you teach me something about it. That's super inspiring to me.
And it's gold.
And it is, because they're usually the worst dancers. But
So bad.
it just kind of shows like the comedic, like, oh, well, we're here and we're just going to do life together and we're going to make it as good as we can get it. But then on the flip side, something that I wanted to say back to Alex's first question, you said something about original content, I think. I can't remember exactly what you said.
Yeah,
but
I was basically getting at, like, the idea of creating original content is a good exercise.
Yeah. Yes. Okay. And so this is one of my pet peeves with TikTok that I'm dying to see what you guys think about.
Okay. Oh, shit, are we about to see a divorce happen on the
No. So
Wouldn't be terrible for viewers.
I've talked to Lizzie about this like 6 times.
So she's not listening.
When she's showing me stuff, sometimes I'll see the same exact video with different people over and over, back to back. And I'm like, to that, I think, where's your creativity there? You're just copying a copy. And there is some validity to that because everyone's a copy of something else, right? But when you're blatantly taking the same dialogue, the same camera shot, and you're not changing it up at all you're doing is saying it in your voice, or sometimes not even.
Yeah, they'll take sound.
What's the point of that?
Yeah,
I don't understand why videos like that can get 100,000 likes when it's literally the 50th person to do that, or maybe even more. Maybe it's the 1,000th person to do it. That's what bothers me.
So
where's the creativity in that?
Hang on, no, Alex.
I need to speak on this.
Lizzie, what's your rebuttal? I want to hear this.
I need to speak on this to Seth personally. Seth,
Let's hop in a private chat.
They're actually starting their own spin-off podcast right now.
Yeah, so Seth, like, the way I'm going to put this in, I agree with you 100%. I'll preface it that way. But the way I'm going to put it to you in this way is, how many tutorials had we watched in the studio together? And then how many of those tutorials did we go out and try to learn? You know what I mean? So there's this element of you copy things till you get technically proficient. And once you're technically proficient, then you can begin to create your own true creative content.
This is true for
and I'm not knocking that.
Right. So what I'm saying is, hold on a second. Don't interrupt me. No, I'm not done.
All right, so Alex, you've clearly never been on TikTok. I know what Seth is talking about. I'm not sure you do. But on TikTok, there's a popular sound. They'll copy the sound, do it to a different scenario using the same sound, or you'll get on TikTok and see the same damn dance over and over and over again. How is that different? Or how is that, in your way, the same as seeing a tutorial?
Peaches, I think you need to go downstairs and give Alex a kiss.
I'm sorry, what was that? I had other things on my mind for a second. Back to my original.
Finding those divorce papers, apparently. Jeez.
This is the divorce that's happening.
Alex. You know what's funny is this is actually turned. I'm the one doing it this time. Alex, please, if you are, explain the difference.
And I got better at it when you brought it up, honey. And I stopped doing it, and you just had to bring it right back. No, what I was getting at with that, in the sense, was there's two elements I think at play. One is you're copying something to maybe put a slightly different spin on it to, like, maybe make it a little bit better, but you're still in that level of, like, mimicking to learn something, to learn a technical skill, whether that's a comedic skill or whatever. Now, in terms of other people liking it when they're the 50th person, I think that's just a factor of when people tune in to watch it.
Yeah, I think that's true. But there's no doubt in my head that they've seen that same thing.
No, I kind of equate it to this though.
Maybe they did, but I think what I'm also trying to get at too is that you
That was tough, Jeff. I'm sorry.
you still mimic the stuff at first, and if you're not committed to something, you're just going to keep mimicking it until you've done it enough times that you produce a technical knowledge of it. And that's when the creative stuff really starts to flow, I think.
Jeff?
I think you're right to a point.
Yeah, I look at videos like that to the same way, like, how many times have you seen some guy sing, Simple Man in a bar? A guy covering, the same songs you've heard 30,000 other people cover in the bars. But one of those people is bound to get picked up and, become a superstar. I think part of it, is the same. It's in the same vein of musicians covering songs and things like that. Like, they saw it, they thought it was cool, they respected it, and it kind of flew off for a little bit for them. But but to play devil's advocate as well, I do get what you're saying, because I've seen the TikTok videos that are like, even the outfits and everything. You're like, wow, like you've bit the whole style, like you took a whole chunk out.
Yeah.
So, do you think there's maybe an element too that, like, I remember this Seth legitimately said this on set one time when he came up to us and thanked us for allowing him to hang out on set. And I remember the phrasing. He said something very similar to,
Dork.
"Thanks for letting me, a hangout session." Like, he referred to the production as a hangout session. And we all kind of looked at him and we were like, well, yeah, like, it is a hangout session, but we get paid for it. Like, that's why we love doing this, because it's very collaborative, and it is a hangout session, but we're being creative. And so what I'm getting at is it's fun to just create content. Like, Seth, you understand that. Like, creating something is fun. So
Yeah.
To some extent, even just the mimicry of something isn't necessarily about the end result. It's about the person legitimately just having fun doing it, and that's really why they're doing it.
Yeah, I mean, how many times has Hamlet been performed?
Damn you.
Boy, what was that for?
I said, damn you.
Yeah, but why?
Because you were right.
Because that's a good point.
Oh,
I don't like it, but it's still a good point.
I don't like it, but I'm still your friend, so I'm going to acknowledge that it was good.
Hey, let me do this. I want to take this in a completely different route, all right? So I am sort of a bit of a paradox when it comes to the idea of social media, right? Because, I mean, if you go on my social media, you're going to find pictures of my dog, and that's it. I try not to actually leave any pictures of myself. I don't like it. And my thing with social media, okay, and my thing with the internet and smartphones as a whole is not only the grouping and the categorization that comes along with putting yourself on the internet and what could become of that, right? I mean, have you ever gone on Facebook to see what they classify you as? Apparently, I'm a Republican. Would love to meet whoever developed that algorithm.
Wait, what?
Where can you do that?
It's under your settings. Yeah. That's my issue with that. I remember talking with somebody, and actually, I think it was Jav. I think this conversation I had with Gav and I, and he was like, where do you think we are? Do you think we're close to that 1984 George, this Orwellian state where, we're going to have, war is peace, freedom is slavery, and we're going to have the thought police and, double speak and all these other things. And I remember, looking at him, I was like, well, dude, I mean, we're kind of already there. Like, what do you mean? I was like, well, Winston had the big giant screen every time he woke up, and that giant screen was there to meet him and tell him this is what you need to do and blah, blah, blah. And then kind of already got that, man. You wake up to a smartphone. Some of us got apps on our smartphone that say you need to work out, or you have this coming up, or, hey, you have X amount of new notifications on Facebook. And we kind of already have this, if you will, big brother that's telling you, hey, you need to do this and don't do that and do this. And, the UK right now, if you go outside more than 3 times, you're going to receive a nice little text from, the government telling you, hey, dude, we've noticed you've been outside, you should probably stay the fuck inside, or else we're gonna come out and have to do something. We kind of already, yeah, we kind of already live in this Orwellian state where it's maybe not as sci-fi as the thought police, but at the same time, apparently they know enough where they can tell you, this is what we think you believe, and this is what we think you're going to do based off of what you've done in the past and everything like that. So my issue is not necessarily the content that's being created as much as what we're doing to ourselves and what the powers that hold all of that data are doing with said data, especially now. This is very relevant, right? Go back to 2 podcasts ago. What do you think about that, right? I mean, the idea of content is good, but what about the idea of, I guess, the internet and what you do with yourself?
Yeah. So I think a lot of people have been really against TikTok because apparently it's out there that, like, the Chinese control it. And so they're like, we don't want to join TikTok because the Chinese will get all your information in your phone and know everything. And, like, several people have said that to me, just, like, independently of them, like, they're not friends or anything. So I think that's out there. So that, like, where joining social media puts all of your information out there in some way that someone can compile it. And then it's also, like, when you use, like, specifically, like, TikTok or, it works for Instagram or Facebook or anything, you'll say something out loud and then you'll see an ad for it on Instagram. Or somehow TikTok knows I live in Colorado and it shows me videos from Colorado, even though I never entered that I, like, live in Colorado. It knows. Or, like, certain content. Like, if I like, several videos of healthcare workers because I'm in the healthcare field, then it'll show me more and more healthcare videos or, things like that. So it's like all the data is always being compiled on us and, like, shaping, it's like, I don't know, technology's view of who we are, like how you were saying that, like, it says that you're a Republican just from the types of things that you post or like or something like that, Like, I think that part of it is very Big Brother. For sure it is. And, like, just how much of us is known out there just from us being on social media. For sure.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. And you're absolutely right. From what I understand, TikTok was created in 2012 by a group called ByteDance based out of Beijing, China. So you're absolutely right. And they control all this data, and they're working with all these other giant social media companies and tech companies that share this data. So I mean, you're absolutely correct on that, by the way. So no need to fact check yourself.
Now, just to
Good job, babe.
just to play onto that though, is when it comes to, like, brand or companies like TikTok and Instagram, Facebook sharing, maybe not so much Facebook, but, like, the I guess the more, no, if I could throw Facebook into it, but, like, all the platforms sharing their users' details with each other, I look at that more of like a marketing thing. They're all just trying to make money. Like what Lizzie said, like, you're talking about pens, and then the next thing you know, Facebook's like, hey, you like to write shit? Buy this, It's always an advertisement for something. It's always like,
I think that's partially because, and I see where Peach is going with this, but ultimately, of course, marketing is going to be the first step to creating, like, algorithms that do what Peaches is referring to, because that's the first step that is a commodity. So people can make money off of it. But at the same time, as those algorithms and computational whatevers get more sophisticated, then I see where Peaches is coming from, because once they get sophisticated enough, and I don't believe they're there yet, or will be in the near future, but they're getting to what Peaches is talking about. Right now, it's just, it's a commodity to be sold. But it could soon quickly change into, again, an Orwellian type of system.
And
it could go ahead, Job, please go ahead.
And I see that too, that it absolutely could, or I think it, I also agree with Peaches that it has kind of transformed into this Orwellian lifestyle. But I just had thought of, if they are using it for marketing now purely, just playing off that, how much you can find out about people just based off what they're interested in buying and what their activities, hobbies are, things like that. I see what you're saying. It can definitely, evolve into almost like a scary understanding of you, like that companies have of you on a personal standpoint, because that's ideally what any company would want, is they want to know their audience or those that are purchasing from them down to the very core.
Well, I think it's Eric Weinstein recently said something that, what would society do when they finally figure out their own source code?
I think you brought me actually to my next point. I definitely see this moving more towards the dystopian state. If you read, a lot of Brave New World and all the other cliche books, 1984, blah, 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 right? You're not really finding don't let this happen as much as you're really just finding a blueprint of what's actually going on, if you go and read like Milton William Cooper and his book We Hold a Pale Horse, it's not as cryptic of like, oh, this is a novel, right? It's more of like, well, no, this is shit that's actually happening, right? And it kind of corresponds with everything that's going on.
So, hey, Hum, do you have that book upstairs? I haven't read that one. Can you throw it down to me?
It's already downstairs on a bookshelf, sweetie.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, right over there. What I see is happening, and even if either way it goes, it could still end up meeting two different paths. We can either go down the road of what could be considered the singularity, right? Which, we're basically reaching consciousness within AI, right? Or we're trying to blend the two with consciousness, so we're taking like the cyberpunk route and we're actually implanting mechanical parts inside human beings, things like that. I actually foresee that as more I see both as plausible. I think we could reach the singularity. I see people enhancing themselves through the use of technology. But at the same time, even if we did get that route, it's still a very 1984 route that we're going, where, you're having a very authoritarian government that, sure, right now it's about ads. Well, actually, right now it's not about ads. In this moment in time, it is not about ads. Okay? We all thought it was about ads, but right now it's being shown to us that it's not just about ads. Okay. Anyways, what I really foresee is at the end of the day, we're all going to be connected like we wanted to, but we're also going to be connected with a power that's going to hold that against us, right? I love the idea of content creation. So this is what I was talking about at the beginning of the conversation, right? I'm going to try to play the devil's advocate. Because I support our content creators. When I go on YouTube and I'm watching somebody that I'm subscribed to, I'll even sit through the ad knowing, oh, well, that ad gets them more money, right? I support these content creators. I love what they're doing. I know what they're doing is hard, and they spend a lot of time to do it. So I'm going to support it, right? But my issue is that what does it ultimately come down to is that we're sharing ourselves with so much technology and so much in part of a system that we're becoming so dependent upon it. So my shout out would be go watch a documentary called The Net by Lutz Donbeck. I'll try to link it in the description. It's going to talk about the interaction between man and machine. And what does that ultimately do, right? When the phone in front of you is so much, it's a world of infinite knowledge. It's no longer just a phone. It's your brain.
Right. But I'll get to this point. I think what you're saying makes sense so long as that system continues to function as it does.
Yeah.
In the sense that, people we're weirdly, as addicted as we get to certain things or certain conditions, we're actually very adaptive as long as our, base level things are met. Food, shelter, warmth, stuff like that. And for an example, people who go to jail, they sit, the first couple months or a year is very rough. but once you get acclimated to this new lifestyle, it is not. I mean, it sucks. Don't get me wrong. Jail may not be the best example, but you acclimate. You acclimate to the conditions that you're provided, and so if the system were to go down, I think it would suck for a while. But I think we would acclimate, and we would revert back to books and just a simple phone call or talking to people. Like it would suck. It would definitely put us back, but I don't know if it necessarily would be a huge issue. So I guess the question I have for you is: are you predicting this based on the sense that the system continues to move forward, or if a system were to break down, it would still go this way?
I'm going to let other people weigh in on that before I give my personal opinion. Lizzie, you are the guest speaker.
I don't know. I think quarantine has kind of given us this opportunity to see what people do when they're stuck at home and they're, without so many things that they're used to being without. And everyone, it feels like most people have turned to technology as that escape. So, I mean, I totally see where you're going, that obviously our technology knows this in a creepy way that most of us just choose to ignore and not hide from, or, I can see where technology would definitely, I don't know, overcome us for sure. I don't know. I think that if technology did crash, we would probably just build it back up. I don't see us just being oh, we're good now.
I kind of think that if what you were saying, Alex, if technology was to go by the wayside, I think to a degree, yes, we would resort back to more of a traditional kind of entertainment, books, telling stories around a campfire, whatever the hell. But I don't think we would also just forget all of the stuff that we had seen. I think it would be more of how do we recreate TikTok, for example, now with no technology? How do we?
Right.
It would be emulating that.
I don't think I'm getting at the sense that we would just completely revert to a prehistoric type.
Just beating rocks together.
Yeah, but I'm just talking obviously, like Lizzie says, I think there would be people that are entrusted with rebuilding that. But the average Joe, like you and me, do you know how to create a web server? I don't. So in the time being, would the populace kind of revert back to those things? And it may not be as big of a detriment as we may think. Not that we lose, that we forget that those things existed and we don't try to recreate them. Just that I think humans are very adaptable, and we would resort back to those things for the time being while we kind of let the entrusted people rebuild. That gets to me on Peach's point, if that were to happen, who do we entrust to rebuild it? Peaches. Nobody. Okay.
Nobody. I was thinking that, actually.
Well, no, but that's not my point. My point is not what if we escape this. My point is what does the inevitable future hold? We can't go back to the traditional hunter and gatherer lifestyle where we are in no more than not even to the point of civilization or society, we're nothing in more than groups, right? I don't think we're ever going back to that.
Let me ask you this though, Peaches. Just for clarification before you go on. When you say we're never going back, are you referring to the populace as a whole would not let that happen? Or are you saying that certain conditions in the environment can't physically prevent us from going back?
I think it's the latter of what you just said. I think we're so far advanced that there's safeguards in place that would prevent us from ever going back to the dark ages.
I'll bring up it's an astronomical example, but what if there were a large comet strike that bottlenecked the human population, or even a horrible, horrible plague, evolutionary bottlenecks are inevitable in every species. So if we were to get down to a low enough population level abruptly, do you think that we would still continue to try and rebuild what we had?
Yeah, well,
We don't have enough people for manufacturing or the knowledge and stuff like that.
It just won't be done on such a large scale. Absolutely not, but the means are still there to do it. Worst case scenario is we get hit with like a widespread EMP and it destroys the actual technology itself. That wouldn't even stop us. It might prolong the advancement of said technology, but we still have the means to get back to where we were. It would just take a long time to get there. I don't think that there's anything in place right now, whether plague, comet, apocalypse, EMP, nukes, it doesn't matter what it is. At the end of the day, we are still going to continue to try to advance. We already have the means to do so. So it's not going away. Even if the physical means to do so goes away, the knowledge is still there.
So you're speaking about the drive, really?
Yes, that drive is there.
Okay.
It's our goal to advance. Absolutely.
I agree with that.
I agree.
I also agree.
Yes.
Well, good.
Lizzie, do you
we're all
agree?
in consensus for once. Ever. First time.
She doesn't know.
Oh, okay. Well, that's fair. That's fair. Better to be honest.
This is just the main part of, like I said, I'm going to come into playing a little bit of the devil's advocate. Again,
You bad boy.
I mean, I watch YouTube, all right? I'm so far millennial, I don't even have cable, all right? I got Hulu, Netflix, and YouTube, and that's it.
We're on YouTube.
We're literally on YouTube right now. But that's my main point is, you know, you're becoming so connected with the system that you are the system. And once the system reaches the singularity, you're now part of essentially a one body where we kind of are right now. Again, just go watch that documentary. It's called The Net, Luke Stombeck. It will blow your mind, all right? It does
Guaranteed.
talk on some certain controversial topics, like it does talk about Ted Kaczynski, things like that. Is that a... What was,
Dog hard.
That was a dog fart?
Literally.
Bravo.
Sorry.
Honest.
Oh, she's so ashamed.
Oh, it's okay.
don't shame her for that.
It's just like looking out the window.
No fucks given.
Okay. Wow.
Sorry,
was-
go ahead.
That was something else.
All right, so
My dog got up.
Do you think there are any negatives to let's make it even broader? Let's not just bulk in social media. Are there any negatives to the idea of social media, the internet, what you put out there? Is there anything that could go bad?
Of course.
For sure.
There's a reason why we don't refer to you by your real name.
Damn right.
Damn right.
Yeah, I don't even know it.
I've never even met this guy before.
Yeah, who are you?
I think he lives in a bunker.
I'm excited you with my
Yeah, bunker outside of Alex's apartment.
All right, that's how I found this, and that's how I showed up.
We're making you think he lives upstairs, but really it's
Yeah.
underground.
I'm really
Exactly.
right
That's
now.
not real daylight coming through.
You guys have a great charade going.
Oh, that's right, Seth. You weren't here when we did the cup pass.
No.
That was so stupid.
Oh, that was
So great.
no, that was one of the best things we've ever had on this
Would
podcast.
you like put your arm up and then someone
They-
else put their hand through the bottom?
They both had this same purple cup that they were drinking from in this episode, and they would just pass it back and forth between
No,
frames.
That's
Yeah,
incredible.
I think it's like episode 7 or 8, one of the two. It's so funny. Because especially when they would, because we were drinking, and so they would like get a little drunk and forget which way to pass it, and so he'd be like, "Give me the cup," and it would come from this side of the frame.
No, that's a TikTok. Right there.
You guys have been making TikToks the whole time, you sneaky bastards.
Ah.
You just had Lizzie on to pick her brain. You're like, I want to get ahead of this TikTok shit. So sorry, I didn't realize they were just trying to bite your style and steal it. I didn't know.
Yeah, what the heck, man?
Everybody got a copy.
Everybody got to eat.
I know. Quit flipping us off, man.
What? Whom? Me?
Alex.
Oh.
Alex?
Also, I noticed you did too earlier.
Yeah.
You were rubbing your mustache. You were like...
Subliminal messages.
Yeah.
We're all about subliminal messages. What you guys don't realize is when we edit this together, we put like one key frame in there that just says "follow us." Every episode, there's one frame that says "follow us."
Oh, that's supposed to just be one frame. I've just been putting out whole episodes like that.
Yeah. Oops. I've been putting the one frame of us on. So people really don't know who we are.
There's just 1 second.
Oh my god.
And it's just you going.
Full screen.
It's just 1 second of me.
See, there is still some positive in social media.
Look at how fun we are.
Oh,
Look at this
so much
fun.
fun. This interaction wouldn't be possible without social
It's
media.
a true hangout.
Look
Yeah.
at us. Look at us all.
Well, actually,
Look at us.
Look at us.
Look at us.
It would be a true hangout if Peaches wasn't held captive in a bunker above Alex's apartment.
Above below Alex.
He's not helping.
Above below Alex.
Alex is the one who's holding me captive right now.
This is a cat.
Go back to the closet.
That's why we don't.
Back to the-
That's why we don't refer to you by your real name.
That's why you guys are fighting so much. You need some fresh air.
I'm just scared. That's all. I'm just scared. I'm frightened right now. If I say the wrong thing, he's gonna bring the leather belt up.
Oh, I got the handcuffs too, bitch.
Well, the handcuffs are okay. I don't mind that.
Do you want the fluffy ones or you want the metal ones?
Metal.
Yeah, good boy.
Cold.
I want that cold steel.
Wait. Yes, Daddy.
Oh God, that's
Ew.
so awkward.
Cringe.
Whoa, that's a good segue, actually. You said cringe? How cringy is the cringiest TikTok you've ever seen?
Oh,
I've never seen a
Numerous
TikTok.
young men and women who are scantily dressed trying to dance.
no.
Mm-hmm.
I just all of them together. They all get bulked into one category. Put some clothes on. That's not how you
No,
get famous.
the
So
cringiest,
cringy.
the cringiest ones to me, if you are in the military and you make a TikTok in your service uniform, fall off a bridge. Those are the worst goddamn things I've ever seen. I'm so sorry, but they are so
That's
bad.
military. You can say that.
That's
But
true.
I kind of agree.
Why do you not like them?
Because when those started to gain popularity of like the dudes like being like, let me play something cool, and then all of a sudden I'm in my plate carrier when I was getting out. And it was always like if anyone that I was in with did something like that, they would get their ass kicked. And I would hope that they would do the same for me, because that is ridiculous. Like, it's drawing attention to something you don't need to draw attention to in the first place, which is the fact that you're in the military. It doesn't matter. You put yourself there. So,
Interesting. So obviously, like, healthcare workers are, like, just blowing up during quarantine on TikTok. Do you think the same way? Like, stop doing your TikTok and your scrubs and your,
no, because
like...
their shit's funny.
Well, here's the other thing too.
It's different.
So I'm not in healthcare.
Here's the
No.
this is the difference. This is the ultimate difference, I think. When we send our troops, for the majority of conflicts that we send our troops into, they are well supplied, well funded for the most part. I mean, granted, you have situations where your logistics.
Can we all just
Keep
appreciate
up
that
with
Alex
stuff,
said
but-
conflicts? I'm so proud of you right now.
What?
You said conflicts.
Yeah.
I'm proud of you.
All right. Well, anyway, the point is,
Why is there a fly in here?
when those servicemen go into those situations, they're equipped. I mean, maybe bare minimum, but still they're equipped to be able to do the things. And the difference is now our healthcare workers are not equipped. And so for them, I think it's not the same as the military.
I
Interesting.
disagree.
Yeah, are you guys not well equipped right now?
So I work in a pharmacy. I'm a pharmacy student. I go to pharmacy school. I work in 2 pharmacies. I have one that's my job and the other one that's a rotation.
And you have a dog.
Hey, quarantine line, dog bark.
Sorry. Oh my God.
Hey.
There's a dog barking in the hallway that they're barking at. Stop.
We'll cut this out. Lucy.
Okay, so I work in healthcare
Don't come here
at a pharmacy. So it depends on where you are. So I work. Can I name drop companies?
You can do whatever you
Just
want.
be safe.
Okay.
No, just because this goes online, just be safe. Speak generally.
Okay, so the company that I work for and get paid to work for is phenomenal. They've equipped us so well. I feel safe when I go to work. And the one that I'm at my rotation with, they're not. They don't care about their employees. You don't feel safe. I'm outraged that I still had to continue to go to my rotation when it wasn't safe for me. And it's scary to have to do that and to be forced to get a grade in school. So that's like my whole thing. And I think, obviously a lot of healthcare systems, they are missing equipment. They don't have the correct PPE, all of that. But I also think that as far as the military goes, like, just because you signed up to go to war and everything and you may have a gun or something, it doesn't mean you're mentally equipped for what's going to happen. So I think neither sets of, like, jobs you're fully ever equipped at all. So I guess I just don't understand how it's different making a TikTok in a military outfit compared to a healthcare outfit. I literally don't get it.
It's because
I think you have a great point to make. Go for it.
It's because when I see TikTok videos of like people in the healthcare industry, they're funny and they're playing right now. They're socially relevant. They're needed. They're playing on the humor of they're adding humor to a situation that really is not humorous. When military members get on TikTok and they make like videos where like 1 second they're just dressed like this and then they're all like fucking Captain America the next second, that is just boisterous, and it goes against like what is what is asked of you when you join the military, which is to be professional at all times. And like if I had soldiers that were making videos like that, as a leader, that doesn't look professional. Cut that shit out. Stop. Like, you don't need to be playing on the fact that you're in the Army for someone else's entertainment. Like, Navy SEALs already do that enough. Like, just fucking do your thing. And, I don't know. I think it's so cultural, like, for the military to, I don't know how to explain it in a better way. Maybe it's just.
Can I try and jump in and give some words to what your thought process may be?
Sure.
So I think what you're trying to say is that, like, in the military, especially the U.S. military, is the culture is to be a professional at all times. You're indoctrinated from day one to always be accountable, and ultimately the reason for that is because our Army system or military system only works if every individual up the chain of command is responsible for their actions and their subordinates.
Ideally, yes.
Yeah, and so when you have variants of that, the system doesn't seem to work. And so you need, just for the military system to work, you need to be closer to that middle ground than you are in maybe other professions.
But so that, to me, because you're from the military, so you get that, but like I'm from healthcare and I feel the same way. Like when I look at the military videos and they're on a tank doing the blinding light stands, I'm like, they're making light of a stressful situation for them. And then when you look at healthcare, that's what you see. And then you, like how you say the military has to be professional, we are trained to be professional in the healthcare field. Like it's definitely, like when I make videos, I'm constantly making sure that no one knows where I work from or things like that, like how they're making it in the hospital. I've seen people riding on the IV holders, you know, to make these TikToks, and that's 0% professional. What if you broke that equipment? Are you making these TikToks and not serving your patients? I think there's so many things that, like, even though I like watching some of the healthcare ones, I'm also like, you're not being professional. You're at your job doing these things. You could be wasting PPE just to make this video. So I think, like, for me, I don't get the difference between, like, the military and the healthcare thing, like how you don't like the military, and I think that they're doing the same thing that healthcare is.
I guess
I have just been swayed to both of your arguments. But yeah, I agree now.
So I guess that
I don't think they're different. I think they both should be held accountable. I agree.
So I guess I had to take a second here and think of some of the stupid videos and pictures that are of me that are out there from when I was in, especially probably shitty things that I've done in my uniform. But so I guess I have to take that with a grain of salt too. Like you said, you know, you're always, because I have countless stupid videos of people doing just dumb shit that they shouldn't be doing. But it was funny at the time.
I have one from like less than 9 months ago involving a Nerf gun and your roommate.
Yeah, exactly. But I don't know. I guess when we started this, when you asked like what the cringiest thing is, I should have described this better, because there are some funny like military TikTok videos. The ones that make me cringe are the ones that, and I'm trying to think of the most appropriate way to say this, but are the ones that are military members in their uniform playing on the fact that they're in their uniform to get laid. Those are the ones that make me cringe. Like they'll have like that.
The braggy ones.
Yeah, like the braggy ones where in like the background it's that one song that's like, I'll be your hero, baby. And then it's some guy that's like a private that's like, yeah, that's the shit that makes me want to throw up. Like, I guess I should have clarified that a little better.
That does sound super cringe.
But I also am like how you put the military one. Yeah, like where you'll be in your plain clothes and then they like snap or something happens in the song and then they're in their military. Like healthcare workers are doing that where they're in their plain clothes and they're like, I'm a cute girl. And then out of nowhere they're in a full-blown hazmat outfit and they're doing it for the likes.
Nope, stop that. That's nonsense. I can't.
It's not about that life.
I can't do that. That makes me, like, just seeing it in my own head makes me cringe.
So that reminds me a little bit of, I don't think, maybe it was a TikTok, but there was a video going around for a while, and it was this stupid song, and it was like, the lyrics were, why do good girls always like bad guys?
Yeah.
And it's always dudes that are like dressed in like a tie for work or something, and then all of a sudden they snap their finger, and they're in like a biker jacket, and they are so cringy. It's the worst thing, but also the most entertaining thing to watch.
Oh yeah. I know exactly what you're talking about. And the first time that I like saw one of those, it just opened up a rabbit hole for more of them. And I was like, how many of these men are making these videos? What is going on?
I know. And I feel like maybe that's a good comparison. That's a good way for me to see like maybe where you're coming from with the military is like.
Yeah,
I imagine that's the same feeling you get. It's
exactly.
Like,
that is how I see that.
So awful.
Yes, it's like, oh God, take that off now, please.
You know what? I'm going to bring up an example that's cringeworthy to me, and then I'm going to propose an idea that I think is an overarching concept. One of the cringiest things for me as a photographer are those photographers who try and recruit attractive females to take sexy photographs.
Mm-hmm.
There's two reasons for that.
Like our Christmas card?
Please flash a photo of our Christmas card. In
That's belly.
Hell yes.
To me, I understand like the Playboy photography, but if you've ever seen the behind the scenes of Playboy photography, it is actually very well technically done. like as a photographer. Like it's really good. Now there are people out there who use the camera and their stuff to get females in to take sexy photos of them.
Yeah, to get a
now,
girl naked.
I'm not against women who want to have sexy photos taken of them, but as a photographer, like Terry Richards or Richardson or whatever, that guy's a fucking creep. And so to me, it's really cringy when I see other photographers posting these like overly sexual photos of attractive women. Because to me, I look at that and I go, well, you can't really, unless that individual person is hiring you to take those photographs, you don't make money off of that.
Yeah.
No one's paying you to take those photographs. And so that to me is really cringeworthy. Now this overarching idea that I've just kind of heard from everybody is that the cringeworthiness factor kind of comes in from what I've heard from these examples when it's like the sub-level is almost sexually based. Like Javin, you spoke about using it to get laid. Lizzie, you kind of spoke about a cute girl making fun, but like, again, the same idea is like, I'm cute, I want to be laid, I want you to like me. And I just spoke about photographers using the camera as a tool to, you know, introduce some kind of sexual content or vibe into a situation. And I wonder if that's part of the cringeworthy factor. It's like, we're basically saying, like, if you're not being genuine for sexual interaction, that's where we get cringy.
Yeah.
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 And I think, too, what I kind of wanted to say real quick was another factor that could be played into what we find cringy is if you can just see right through someone's intentions of making a video. Like,
Sure.
Are their intentions good? And most of the time, your gut will tell you, and you'll know within the first couple of seconds. And if it's like, oh, they're just doing that for this, then it's like, yeah, that's cringy. That's stupid.
Yeah.
So I think that could be a part of it, too.
I forget. I think this is from some movie or something, but it's there's that saying that like when you do something from your soul, people really dig that shit. And I think that is just transparent everywhere. That if you see like some guy that's just doing this to, you know, to get laid or whatever, you recognize that. And I think that, you know, that's just something we haven't really talked about is like TikTok and all social media is going to be used by weirdos as well. Like the same people that make you cringe in public also have TikTok accounts and Facebook and like all that stuff. And it's just, you know, you're like, I don't know. I guess it's like, it's some of you get this, or at least I get the same feeling seeing some of those videos of like, you know, that same guy that's like hitting on every single woman in a bar, like over and you just see it and you're like, God damn, like, please stop.
Do you just love rejection?
Yeah. You just love rejection. But yeah, no,
so maybe actually, so to what Seth's saying, and maybe our examples were just a part of the even larger overarching theme is the cringeworthiness comes from being unreal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think it's like
fake human.
Yeah, and I think it was like it's easy for you to identify when it's cringy and it's the military because you're like, that's not what it's really like when we're here. And then I'm like healthcare, like, oh, that's cringy because like that's not like you shouldn't be like doing this just for that or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
same thing with me in photography, like.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, whatever your niche is, you can tell who's genuine.
But from my point of view, I'm like, that's not anything you can make viable. Yeah.
Can I hear you, Peaches?
Peaches? Turn your mic on, bud.
You're muted, I think.
No sound.
This old fuck doesn't know how to use a gun.
Come on, Boomer.
Oh,
okay, Boomer.
Oh, we got two boomers
I can't hear you.
living on top of each other.
I need to turn this thing off.
Alex, get up here and fix this microphone.
I hate Seth so much.
Aaron?
That's taking Alex a while to get upstairs.
Yeah. He's got to break through all the locks.
He's like, God, I think I put too many on this door.
Yeah.
Which key is it?
Yeah.
He's always dropping his keys.
He just has no idea.
That's amazing.
No clues.
Peaches just got.
Well, while he's figuring that out, maybe I'll tell you guys what my worst TikTok video
Oh
is.
yes, please.
So I watch a lot of H3 Productions. I don't know if you've heard them on YouTube.
Mm-mm.
They have a podcast and they're super funny.
Okay.
They're an acquired taste, I think, though. Anyway, so on their podcast, they had talked about some of these TikTok actors, and they take scenes from movies or even like soap ops, and they'll do like what I think you call them duets, where you can actually act with another TikToker.
Okay,
and
yeah.
make a collaboration video. And so they do like these breakup scenes where they're just lipping the actual movie or
That
show.
sounds amazing.
No. Oh, no, it's awful. And most of the time, and they're so cringy.
So dramatic.
It's the worst part is the comments. The comments underneath, you'll find so many people going, "You're such a good actor. Oh my God, why aren't you in movies?" And it's like, maybe some of them are trolling, but I think truly there's a lot of people that actually dig it. And I'm like, this is awful. And it goes back to like, you're just taking something that someone else made. Hey, there we go.
Yeah,
So that's my thing.
I see old exit join back thing.
That?
So, by the way, y'all called me a boomer. I think it was actually Facebook. So,
Facebook's for boomers.
Come on, Mark.
I think it was Mark Zuckerberg in this application.
Yeah. Hey, Seth, go ahead and continue. I'll interject. At first, I was like, wow, people are really just ignoring me. Everyone hates me.
Yeah, we didn't know. Your camera's off. Your everything.
I did turn the camera
off.
off.
Jump right now.
Get more beer. No, I'm going to go back to the whole nurse situation, military situation. I say this respectfully because I'm saying it's somebody in the healthcare industry right now, but anybody who posts a video to say, look at me, look what I do is so important kind of a thing, I really don't like, personally.
Yeah.
And my wife's an RN. And
I think that's because what we don't like are people who...
The disingenuous.
Yeah.
I get everybody having fun, but I also say this respectfully because, you know, my wife, she's a registered nurse. She's gone to school for a long time. She's done a lot to get where she is right now. And then there's people out there who, you know, are like CNAs and stuff like that out posting these videos trying to get some sort of glory, if you will, you know, like thank your next healthcare worker, things like that. And it's like, I got respect for all of you, but my wife is like in the heat of it right now. And she, none of her or her friends who all RNs and work in very, you know, specific fields, none of them are out posting any of these things, you know. Now, but with that being said, though, I also want to say this, though, okay, because that, again, that's my personal feeling, but then again, I'm more on, like, the extreme modest side of life, so, you know, you got to take that with a grain of salt. That's my personal opinion.
So,
with that being
but
said,
if
though,
you do want to thank Peach's wife, you need to go back and watch episode 6. Watching that episode would thank her very graciously.
Yes.
yeah, I
She took
completely
the
agree.
time. No, she took the time to come and talk to us about the coronavirus from her perspective, and she was not being flamboyant about her position or anything. Very factual, and giving us the best information we had at the time of filming.
Now, let me say this, all right? Hey, Jeff, real quick, I got a question for you. What you do in the military?
Huh?
What did you do in the military?
Jumped out of airplanes. It was a
All
mortar.
right. Did you do anything cool, save any people, protect freedom in any sort of way? All right. So my main thing is I'm not saying the military is bad, but I see a lot of these guys out posting videos and sort of getting some sort of glory, and people comment, thank you for your service, thank you for protecting our freedom. when in reality, a lot of guys in the military, unfortunately, well, actually, you know what? Fortunately, don't get to see any of these things. Okay, I am saying that's a good thing because I've met the guys on the opposite end. Javin and I were just talking about this last night, who have had the unfortunate situation of being met with having to actually be in combat and see those things. Okay.
Yeah.
And those guys, guess what? They don't post shit unless you're a SEAL. At which point, apparently, that's what you got to do once you ETS. You got to start posting shit, or a Green Beret. Sorry, I'm throwing both of them under the bus.
What about the PJs?
I don't hear shit from those guys.
Exactly.
JTAC, PJs, I don't hear shit from anybody.
Because they're the
All right?
gentlemen of the armed forces.
Yeah. But if you're a SEAL or a Green Beret, apparently everybody in the world has to fucking know about it. And apparently you know, and you have to teach everybody else how to be a SEAL. Anyways, so a lot of guys are fortunate enough to never be met with that. Yet we're seeing a lot of these videos and they're being thanked for their service and protecting us, things like that. It's like, hey, dude, I get why you joined the military. I tried to join the military. All right, but I couldn't because of medical reasons. All right, I get why most people join the military.
Loser.
Nurses, on the other hand, it's 100% of the time. You don't get to be a nurse and just go through training constantly and do things in office. No, if you're a nurse or a med tech or a CNA or in the pharmaceutical industry, by the way, mad props to you. Pharmacology blows my fucking mind. Anyways, you know, you don't get to just sit there and do like, you know, administrative or janitorial things inside the office. No, you're actually out there doing shit. So that's why when I do see the nurses doing it, I try to give them a little bit more leeway, knowing full well that none of them do get a break.
Well,
but I think
hold on, you interrupted me earlier. I think that, like, when it comes down to it, though, like, you know, when you see videos like that from healthcare, military, whatever it is, though, you're right, Peaches, most of the time, those that have actually done something like, you know, seen combat, seen real shit, whether, you know, whatever it is, they don't talk about it because they're not insecure in that. A lot of people, especially in the military, are unfulfilled when they don't go and see that, as weird as it sounds. You know, that's something that I dealt with. I never got to deploy, and I wanted to, and all those weird ideas for a long time. But the people that put out so much content and like so much stuff and love being thanked for their service and all that boisterous stuff, I think it's just insecurities. And when you give them a platform like social media, you know, they're allowed to take their insecurities that you would normally just see while you're interacting with them, and they can put them out for everybody else to also engage with their insecurities. And, you know, that's, you know, I think that plays into a whole different thing. Like if you don't like the videos and that, don't give them negative comments. Don't feed the insecurity that's already there.
Yeah. Don't comment good or bad. Is like, if you don't like it, just, you don't gotta watch it.
Or if you do like it, you like it, and who gives a shit, I guess. I mean,
yeah, that is true. If you like it, hey, good on you, man.
I mean, that's what emo music is.
Yeah.
Really? Really, yeah. No, that's absolutely correct. It's just blatant insecurities.
So proud of you for that.
You're welcome.
So proud of you for that. But, you know, like I said, at the end of the day, I mean, I get it. I'm not saying if you serve in the military that you're a douchebag and you haven't done blah, blah, blah. I'm not saying any of that. I'm saying you're fortunate enough to not have to go through that, because the people who have gone through that, they come out pretty fucked up. It's the same thing with nurses, all right? If you talk to any nurses who have seen some serious things, I mean, it changes you, man. Like, I try to actually not talk to nurses because they scare the living shit out of me with the stories that they tell me. Like, I know a nurse who works, I forget what it's actually called, but she basically works with people who've had spinal or brain injuries. And she's told me stories, and I'm never going to hop on a dirt bike ever again. Like, nope, that's it, I'm done. Like, you mean this dude fell off a chair and he's now a vegetable? How the fuck? Yeah. And she's like, oh, yeah, well, you're riding a dirt bike, so, I mean, you know, I'm like, no, don't tell me that. Like, come on, like, stop telling me stories, you know. But it's the same thing when you talk to combat vets, like actual combat veterans who have seen some serious shit. Yeah. I mean, it's a whole different ballgame, all right? That's why those guys don't talk about it. It's because, like Gavin said, they're the real fucking deal. They don't need anybody to know. It's the same thing with a lot of the nurses who have seen a lot of shit out there. They don't need anybody to know because they already know.
They receive their own validation, and that's what it is for a lot of professions that glorify or romanticize like, the shitty parts of life, like, a lot of healthcare professionals, the military, like that's where the romance is being in the shit. Like they don't, they don't make movies about clerks in the army, and it's like, when you work in an environment like that where it's always romanticized and people that have been in the shit and you hear they open up to you and you hear these stories, for some people it plays on that and it makes them just feel like, God, I'm so inadequate and I can't I'm not relating to these real people.
It changes you, whether it's the military or you're killing somebody or losing somebody, mm-hmm. or even as a nurse losing a patient. It fucks with you.
Yeah.
And you don't like to talk about it.
No, I mean, it shouldn't.
I've seen this firsthand. I mean, obviously, I don't know the details because of HIPAA and stuff like that, but I mean, it does things to you. I've seen it with my wife when you lose somebody like that.
Yeah, and
you don't go online posting about it, talking about how bad ass it is because you got to see this and do this. Like, no, it's not. It's not cool.
Yeah, I mean, it shouldn't come as any surprise that people don't really like to talk about traumatic experiences. You know what I mean? It's like that's not like what they open up with.
You don't fucking say.
Like,
that's my platform.
That's my only traumatic experiences. That's it. That's all I talk about. Super.
I used to love it when we were in middle school. And I get it now that I'm an adult and I've had a lot of friends in the military. I used to get it. Like when me and my friends would go up to guys in uniform and shake their hands and say, thank you for their service, they would always look at us like,
yeah,
okay. and in their mind, they're like, I work in a supply room, dude. Like,
yeah.
Well, it's awkward too, just getting thanked for your service in general. It's bizarre because like you're just going about your daily life, and then
hold on a second, but it's like the military is a job, and you're like, that's like walking up to some fast food worker and be like, thank you for making all the sandwiches.
Yeah, seriously, that's how it feels sometimes because you're like,
leave me alone.
They're like,
I would not have Chick-fil-A without you.
Everyone should be thanking Chick-fil-A.
Everyone should be thanking Chick-fil-A. All right, that's the one thing I will say. All right, those people do a lot.
Yeah,
it's my pleasure for you letting me come here.
Yeah, damn right.
So just a quick little side story on Chick-fil-A. I had a class with two young men that both worked for Chick-fil-A. Hi, Micah. And,
that was Micah. I was like, who's cursing right now? I thought it was perfect for that little skit, by the way.
Yes, perfect.
Foreshadowing.
What the hell? Oh yeah, these two guys in my class, they both worked at the same Chick-fil-A. They worked together, and they were like, it showed me that Chick-fil-A employees don't have like an on and off switch. Like most people have like a customer service voice, and then they go in the back and they're like, fuck these people. Like, oh, I hate them. No, these dudes were the same in class that they would have been at Chick-fil-A. Like if the professor spoke to them, they're like, oh, it's my pleasure to be talking right now. Like, holy shit. You're just like, why are you so nice?
Thank you all.
Chick-fil-A has to have the most stringent vetting process. Chick-fil-A.
Dude, I want to be friends with these guys.
Oh, dude, they're wonderful. They are wonderful
human
beings.
It would be, yeah, exactly. It'd be like being friends with Patrick, where you're like, can you stop being so nice?
Yeah. That's someone we should have on here is Patrick. Everyone, the episode would get
need to be on here.
The episode would get a surplus of likes because I think you're correct. I don't think you can dislike that man.
Yeah, that'd be the most popular video, and we could literally talk about anything.
Anyways, nobody else knows who Patrick is.
We could be talking about Alex's bowel movements.
I've always been curious.
I had quite a few today.
Well, it is Easter.
How are the bowel movements?
You don't want to know. Then I'm not going to talk about it unless I'm talking to your wife.
It's like, after those, I've seen some shit. And you don't need to know. I don't want you to know.
Shit.
I mean, I'd
Join
like.
us at some shit.
I mean, I would like to know.
All right, getting back on track, Mr.
Oh.
Producer.
Yes. Oh, I don't know. I was taking care of a fish for a second. I don't know what just
How
happened.
about you get your fucking priorities in order here for a second?
I do. You guys are worth less to me than my fish, so fuck off.
I believe him too.
Oh yeah, for sure. I
But
know
the
you did.
spaceship stays with me.
Fuck you.
You gotta bump those numbers up a little bit. I gotta be, and we share the same bed in matrimony.
I don't know if it's
Where's your
matrimony
wife?
when you're kept in an attic.
I can come out of this attic whenever I want. He just has to unlock the door.
This attic.
I don't need to unlock the doors. You locked yourself in there, bitch. Did you forget how that door works?
Apparently.
Yeah, it's a pull door, not a push door.
Ah.
Yeah,
I should probably go get some sunlight.
probably. You're looking a little
Probably
pale.
talk-
I don't like fucking
probably-
pale people.
I'm gonna go talk to a person and then go hit the tanning salon right away.
Is that what you're gonna do?
GTL.
I don't really tan though. I burn. Is that okay?
Yes.
Is that a hashtag?
I also burn. It is the Irish.
I can't.
The Irish genes.
Yeah, lots of European in me. It just I can't hold a tan. I'll burn and then I'll be like white as hell the next week.
It's nice. It's nice to be that white, where the sun is your
I like
mortal
to be able
enemy.
I like to be able to single planes by taking off my shirt.
Yeah.
Okay, speaking of being white, there's some
We are all white.
funny TikToks of people reading the
White people be like.
White People Be Like memes. Have you seen those?
I have.
Amazing.
Those are good.
Incredible. Every
Some
time
of them
I'm
are
like,
really
me.
fucking funny.
For sure.
Yeah, and I think I can actually tick myself on almost all of them. And I'm like, God dang it, I'm so white.
Oh yeah, they're
And then
so
I
And I'm
accurate.
only 28.
Literally. And then I sent it to my Asian friend. I was like, you gotta see this. You're gonna laugh so hard. And she's like, I don't get any of it. I was like, what? Really? Are you serious?
I don't think there's anything wrong with that, though. Like, we all have our own culture.
Cultural,
And that's
totally.
Yeah, that's just part of it. Like, I don't think there's anything wrong that white people act differently than any other race.
No, I.
It's funny though.
And
They
to
are
make
good.
fun of it is a good thing. Like, there's a reason
Oh, yeah.
why. There's a reason why we profile people. It's because it works.
Heard it here first, folks.
If it didn't work, we wouldn't do it. Like, I'm not saying it's accurate 100% of the time, but I mean, serial killers are white. Let's be real.
I mean, that is true. Like, white people definitely have the serial killing game on lock, like by drastic numbers, like by a landslide.
Oh, yeah.
Like other races aren't
yeah.
even trying.
Yeah, especially those from Ohio. Sorry.
Oh, we got it.
You guys
we're
care about.
fucking those. We literally are.
Yeah, Carol Baskin. That's all you need to know.
Dude, she fed her husband to some cats. I know that for sure.
Oh my god. The greatest conspiracy I heard so far was, I believe it's Stephen Colbert, and Carol Baskin and her husband decided to fake her own death so they could collect the insurance money, and he's hiding inside of a tiger right now.
I dig it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we've reverted back to the Tiger King.
Yeah,
God damn it.
we can't get away.
You can't.
Oh.
Can't
I
get
haven't seen the show.
Yeah, why
I
not?
wish you would, but I'm not going
Just to understand the memes.
The memes.
It-
I don't know.
It does make the best memes have come out of that show, 100%.
Yeah.
I'm probably not going to watch it. It feels too much like reality TV, and it just makes me want to shoot myself.
The problem is that it does, but I think the difference is, unlike reality TV that's produced, this isn't produced. Like, I think that's what the catch is like,
True.
it's so much like reality TV, but it's actually reality.
Yeah, and
that's what makes it crazy.
well, and the portions of reality TV are the worst that they play on, you know? Because, I mean, Joe Exotic did have a reality TV show, for Christ's sake, which is just nuts.
I will finish my anime show, and then I will get right on that.
Yeah, okay.
Isn't there like 39,000 seasons to every anime ever made?
Yeah.
3, and it's My Hero Academia, and it's amazing.
All right, well, cool. That's your shout out for today. You don't get any more.
Actually, no, mine was the documentary.
Oh, so now you're in the hole for one shout out. You don't get to say anything on the next one.
Yeah.
I'm in debt.
You're in shout out debt.
Damn. Okay.
Alex, do you have any shout outs?
I do, actually. So, years ago, I need to preface this because there's a story behind it, and it doesn't make any sense if I don't tell the story. I got my master's degree in forensic science, and without a doubt, all the people in forensic science, we have a dark sense of humor. And I think that's just natural because you deal with some very disgusting things, and a good way to healthily deal with it is a sense of humor, but because of what you see, it's dark. And then, I got into climbing mountains and stuff, and I'm pretty sure at some point I will try and climb some very large mountains.
El Capitan.
And then I had a friend who told me about, or she asked me, did you know there's a guy on top of Mount Everest called Green Boots or Green Jacket or something like that? He's froze to death on the trail, but he's at such a high elevation that they can't remove him because you just don't have the energy to bring someone down from that altitude on a mountain. And I was like, yeah, no, I know about that. It's kind of a cool story. And just because I love mountains so much, I was like, I always wish that if I die on a mountain. And I don't want anyone to remove my body. I just want to be part of the mountain, It's kind of a joke, like a sick joke. So I had a medical bracelet made, like people who have diabetes or take blood medicines or whatever. So I had my friend make a medical bracelet that says, if found on mountain, do not remove body. Now my friends
You think that they'll listen to that?
They're like, God damn it, this guy's got the bracelet on. We got to let him decompose here.
Yeah,
Everyone go home.
Let me radio this in. Yeah, no, he's got a bracelet.
It's even got the medical symbol to let you know it's a medical bracelet.
Photoshop's a hell of a tool.
Yeah, sir. It's got the medical symbol. Yeah, the one with the cross and 2 snakes. Yeah, it's on there. You want us to leave it? Okay.
Yeah. Don't touch it?
Okay. No, but my friend Lizzie of EK Metals custom made this bracelet for me. And she's a custom jeweler out of,
This is shout out.
what's that show, or that town? The really expensive one? Telluride.
Rail?
Telluride. Yeah, so she's out of Telluride. She makes custom jewelry like this. Her store is called EK Metals. So if you want custom mountain-based jewelry, I would highly recommend you check her out.
You gonna have a link?
Yeah, we'll put.
No, we say that, but we never do.
I'll try and remember this week. I'll try and actually follow through this week.
We'll see if it works.
What about you two? Do you have any shout outs, any fellow TikTokers, anybody you want to give the platform to?
What's your handle, Lizzie?
Oh, yeah.
I can't just say it. What if I don't want all these followers?
Oh, you mean the 78 people that watch this podcast? Is that too much?
Yeah.
Can you not handle the mass
I
influx
have like 5
following?
followers and I was brought on as the expert.
Oh my god.
You are the most qualified.
You're the most expert.
Yeah, I have another one here.
I have 0 and I don't even have an account. So.
You knew the hashtag lollipop something?
You guys, Seth has had a TikTok and he didn't know about it because I hid it inside his app folders that he never goes into.
Yeah.
And then I told him I deleted it.
In the utility folder on the second page.
And you have more followers than her.
For sure, I'm sure.
Jesus.
Never even opened it.
My shout out is to you guys for having me on the show.
Hey.
You're expert.
Aww, kiss ass.
You see right through it.
That is cringeworthy.
I'm so cringe right now. This is cringy.
Gosh, we sound a lot younger than we really are, guys.
Cringe.
The Gen
Wow.
Z is going to watch this and be like, the fuck?
What is
Like,
this
these
nonsense?
old bitches,
What is
they don't know
this?
shit.
I hope
dude, you
Digital
guys are
Archive
dumb.
pull this up in like 200 years, and they're like, "Look at these fuckers."
Yeah, they're
These
like,
crusty ass
what is
people.
this shit? What are they even
Look
talking
at these
about?
old boomers. Man.
And for those of you who find this in the archives 200 years from now, you young motherfuckers, I hate everything you're doing.
You're all going to die from singularity.
Such is time. That's what's going to happen. Eventually, we'll all get old and be like, we hate all the stuff that young people do because it doesn't make sense to us.
I know. That day's coming fast, too. Though.
I know. Eventually, I'm just going to be like, oh, why am I angry?
All right, so what's your shout out?
I don't have one.
Local
You don't
band?
have to have one. It's fine.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I have a shout out. So I have a friend who moved here from Montana, and she's a musician, artist, and her wife is in a band with her, and they're called a Mistress. No? Cut that out so if she sees it, she won't get mad. It's Subtle Moments. Thanks a lot, babe.
Hey.
That name after what you just did is perfect irony.
Not a
Subtle
mistress.
Moments.
Cut that. No one look up that.
Stop saying it then.
It's Subtle Moments.
Now you have to say it 4 more times to make up for the wrong name you've said.
Subtle Moments.
Please follow.
Oh, dude,
Subtle
say it just like that.
Moments.
Please follow Subtle Moments.
Say the beat.
Wait,
Subtle
should we?
Moment.
Wait, hold on a second. Hold on. All of us.
Everybody be quiet. We got to get the perfect free.
On the
Please
count-
follow
On the
sub.
count of 3, all of us are gonna say it. 1, 2, 3.
Hey, if you guys don't use that as your subtle moments, you guys better use that as your own plug because we just did that for you.
Yeah. So definitely check them out on
Instagram, Facebook.
iTunes and Spotify, and kind of a self shout out is that because we're such good friends, I've mixed a lot of her songs. So mostly anything that you'll hear on
Self-promotion.
anything that you'll hear that they've released, I've probably worked on with them. But they're very talented. Just check them out.
Awesome.
That being said, to this date, nobody judged the audio quality of our podcast.
Because
Seth has
Javin
not worked
and-
on any of it.
Javin and Alex refused.
I've washed my hands on.
It has nothing to do with that, Peaches. It has to do with the fact we're recording over Facebook Messenger. Nobody sounds good, even you with a mic.
I got a mic.
Although it would sound a lot better if we didn't have the background noise. Are we doing this? No, we're not doing this. All right, guys, please don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the fucking bell notification, and thanks for tuning in.
Share,
All right,
share,
here's done.
share.
Share, comment,
Don't
share,
forget-
comment, share, follow, tell your friends.
Social media share.
Tell your mom,
Social
tell your
media,
mom.
hashtag share, hashtag tell your
Yeah,
friends.
dish up, tell them we're good.
Tell your mom, tell your grandma. I don't care. Just tell somebody about us. We need some money.
Preferably older.
Yeah, we cater to the boomer crowd. Get them to listen to this. They'll love it. Tell them it's just like Sean Hannity. They'll have a great
Not
time.
tell the older generation.
All right. Well,
All right.
thank you, Lizzie, for being a guest.
Thank you,
We
Lizzie.
appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And we will see you guys later.
All right.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.